2011 and 2012 were not auspicious years for the Japanese people. Following a 9.0 magnitude earthquake, the reactor cooling systems at Fukushima Daiichi were heavily damaged by the resulting tsunamis. This created a 30-kilometer exclusion zone afterwards that continues to this day. Its sister, Daini, was also damaged, but the area was made safe by quick action of the plant operators. It was decommissioned in 2019 and will take 40 years to safely dismantle. 1 year after the disasters, the Japanese government created the Nuclear Regulation Authority, replacing its old one as an independent entity. The lethargic reaction of the Japanese government during this nuclear disaster would end up being the focus of Hideaki Anno's Shin Godzilla, in which a similarly aged and impotent government attempts to thwart an escalating threat of a radioactive monster in their midst. Sorry, there's no punchline there. Beyond that, in 2011, there seemed to be a strange idea that most TV mecha anime needed to feature girls, idols, or high school. And in 2012, they tried to keep that trend going. This is only really an issue if, say, a certain mecha aficionado who makes videos online about this sort of thing happens to be very tired of high school anime. This led to many of the same problems that other school anime run into, being very samey feeling. However, there were a few standouts in spite of that, so let's take a look at them right now. Sporting a questionable amount of understanding about what the United Nations actually does, Guilty Crown premiered in 2011. After an outbreak of a virus destroys a large amount of Japan's population, the UN steps in to contain it, using a force called the GHQ. All it cost the Japanese was their independence, so claims this series, as a high school student named Shu gets sucked into a new conflict. After accidentally gaining the power of the king from a strain of apocalypse virus, he ends up on the front lines of a conflict between GHQ and the funeral parlor for the fate of Japan and the world in the balance. Sporting impressive visuals but flimsy storytelling, Guilty Crown is fondly remembered for its mechanical designs and less for its everything else. Available stateside from Funimation. Infinite Stratos follows on from Vandred in the Battle of the Sexes sort of way, and does it about as well. The mecha suits, the titular Infinite Stratos, have suddenly destabilized the military balance of the world, and now IS suits have been distributed evenly across the planet. And since IS suits are only able to be piloted by women for reasons, this upends the patriarchy on top of everything else. Seems like a net win to me, but whatever. So of course the only male in the world able to pilot one appears in Japan, becomes the victim of a harem anime as he's brought to IS Academy. Danger never far away. Can our heroes band together against the new threat on the horizon? Ran for 12 episodes, available in the States from Sentai Filmworks. Gundam Age also aired in 2011, a story that spans over 100 years and 3 different protagonists in one series. In the year AG-108, a young boy named Flit Asuno builds the first Gundam suit in nearly 100 years to fight against an unknown enemy. He also creates the Age system, a machine that 3D prints new weaponry on the fly. Even with this ability, the war continues on against the UE, known now as the Vagon. Flit's son Asemu takes up his mantle, and finally Kyo Asuno joins the war effort in the Ultimate Arc. The series makes a lot of references to older Gundam works, fitting for the director, who worked on many of them previously, as well as Sergeant Frog, and deals with the strain of a war on a family, as well as the tactical struggles war entails. This series ran for 49 episodes, though it was originally planned to be over 78. Currently available from Nozomi Entertainment. Justine was a planned robot series, but only ended up being a single OVA. Worth noting because goodness, it was a good try, but when all the information that can be gathered on it is that humanity went to space, but there are bad guys, the mark has truly been missed. Good luck finding this one. Starting life as a visual novel, Robotics Notes was the third game in the science adventure series, following on from Chaos Head and the well-loved Steins Gate. The story is a little all over the place, but the main thrust is that a mecha fandom club tries to build its own robot based on Gunveral, the in-universe mecha anime. Using the protagonist's favorite mobile game as a control base, they manage to win both miniature mecha games and come up with a strategy to achieve their engineering goals. While all this is going on, the mysterious Council of 300 is starting a bid to take over the world using technology that has never been seen before. When their goals collide with Kaito and Akiho, who will come up on top? The ultimate underdog story clocks in at 22 episodes and is available through Funimation Entertainment. AKB00048 is idol mecha anime that isn't Macross for once, even though Shoji Kawamori is the chief director. AKB48, an actual idol group, is spiritually resurrected in the context of the story to bring music to places where art and music are outlawed for disturbing the spirit. It also means that they have to rumble up against the Deep Galactic Trade Organization, a totalitarian government. Between the mecha combat, they also have to train up to be the best idols they can be, not unlike a sci-fi version of Sakura Taisen, for comparison's sake. Dance like your life depended on it, girls, because it does. Running for 22 episodes, it was released in the West by Funimation. Lagrange, the Flower of Rinne, follows Madoka Kyono, who is cheerful and energetic, and that's about it. After finding a mech called the Vox Aura and naming it Midori on account of it being green, she pilots it in defense of her quiet life in Kamigawa. Using her infectious positivity, some of the aliens join her side and turn on their homeworld over the course of the series. Ran and Mugenami, the two aliens, form the front line with Madoka against the invaders, though the series as a whole drops the ball on things that mecha fans actively pay attention to. Available from Viz Media. Muv Love Alternative Total Eclipse is a story set in the Muv Love universe, which started off as an adult game and later blossomed into something completely different. Aliens attacked during the Cold War and led to the development of tactical surface fighters, the most recent of which are being deployed in 2001, where this series begins. Yuya Bridges, a half-Japanese, half-American lieutenant in the U.S. Army, is the lead pilot in this next-generation fighter program. Why he's not in the Air Force is beyond me. A cynical and aggressive pilot, as part of Project Prominence, teams up with a Japanese Royal Guard named Yui and two Soviet espers in a bid to take the fight to the Beta forces that have been beating back the combined might of the world's armies. Released in the West by Sentai Filmworks, spanning 24 episodes. Eureka 7 AO followed on from its predecessor and was widely panned as a disappointing sequel to a great series. Sadly, speaking further about it delves into massive spoilers for the original show, so it will not be talked about here. It was brought over to the States by Funimation after they rescued the first series, though it suffers heavily from the Nadesco Prince of Darkness issue, taking a massive tonal twist. Based on a video game, Super High-Speed Gyro Zetter is a super robot entry for this year, and features the same sorts of super robot tropes common to the genre. Kakeru is a reckless but polite 5th grade student who's given an AI car that transforms into a super robot called Rybird, and faces off against the Xenon organization who wreaks havoc across New Yokohama. Gathering up a team of 3 other Gyro Zetter pilots, Kakeru takes on this evil organization over the course of 51 episodes, and is not currently available in the States at the time of recording. And finally, rounding it all out, Gothic Maid was released in theaters, though no current home video release has appeared. Following on from 5-star stories, the film is Mamoru Nagano's attempt at remaining relevant. The Lost Media Wiki has several theories about the entire situation. Quote, the film was never announced for any kind of home video release for unknown reasons, and repeatedly appeared in Japanese cinemas for limited amounts of time until early 2016. One theory why the film was never released outside of theaters is that Nagano was dissatisfied with the movie due to its long production and receiving lukewarm reviews from critics. In contrast, another theory states that Nagano believed the film could only really be experienced in a theater setting due to its 4K animation, and as such refused any sort of downgraded home video release. Whatever the case may be, it is a shame, but while Nagano is an impressive mech designer, his storytelling has yet to really come into its own. 2013 would only be marginally less dry for mecha shows, but the trends started in these years would only be reinforced, tragically enough. By this point, things had not coalesced yet into a solid ideation of what the name of the decade would be, but as the years dragged on from the Rebirth era, mecha series seemed meandering and unfocused. Would more time solve this problem and give a name to the era to come? In examining 2013's offerings, we may yet find out.